Well, welcome to another session of Dance Tier where we talk to professionals in the dance industry and hopefully gain some knowledge and some inspiration through their own experiences. And today, I'm so excited. We have such a talent and treat with us today. She is a triple threat professional dancer, actor, singer, choreographer, entertainment company owner, entrepreneur, mother. She's just a very special human being and extremely rare to find these gems in the entertainment world, especially. So, Liz Watts, welcome.
Hi. Wow, thank you for that grand introduction. You said triple threat went for like 3 to 5 to 6 to 7. I'm like, okay, sweet. I'll take that. I'll take that.
You are more than a triple threat,
Thank
definitely.
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on and letting me chat with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with my girl and share my journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you've done so much in the entertainment world and it's definitely something that I don't even know to what extent. So I'm excited to talk to you about this. Let's start with, can we talk about what brought you to the arts first? Since you're more than just a dancer, obviously, but give us a little bit of your background and
Yeah.
your training.
Two names, Whitney Houston and Paula Abdul. So Whitney Houston is definitely an inspiration as a singer. I listen to her every day and I sang all of her shower songs. And Paula Abdul, she was my inspiration as a dancer and a choreographer. So it's always about, somebody that inspires you. And those two ladies definitely inspire me, along with Janet Jackson, of course.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it was about 7, and I started dancing in my bedroom and then dancing at family parties and then singing in talent shows and different things in school, and it just went from there from like the age of 7. I took tap first, which I know is kind of non-traditional because you normally as a dancer take ballet and then
Right.
tap. But I took tap first, and I remember my first show I was wearing one of those big top hats and it kept coming in my face and I couldn't really see, so I just let my feet kept moving and kind of had to tilt the hat every now and then. But that was my first live show as a dancer, little 7-year-old.
So, did you go to any, art schools from there, or
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you get private sessions and all that?
Meanwhile, taking classes, I then went to High School of the Arts, also known as FAME, LA County High School of the Arts, abbreviated LOXA. So I went there 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and I majored in the arts and music department and singing. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What were some of your most, proud accomplishments, after school and then starting to get really into the industry? What were some of the most proud moments for you in your career?
Yeah. After I graduated high school, I then went to UCLA and I studied in theater. And then after the theater department, I wanted to explore Hollywood. So I took the acting classes and I started booking commercials and I started booking music videos, dancing with, then Destiny's Child and the Black Eyed Peas.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then I was invited to go salsa dancing one night. And being a jazz dancer, I'm like, I don't want to dance with anybody else. Nobody's going to lead me. And I was hooked. It was like the lights, the energy, the what the ladies were wearing, and the connection. I was in class the next day, and then 2 months after that, I joined LA's renowned salsa company, Salsa Brava, and took off from there. So I was like, bye bye tap and ballet. I'm gonna go salsa dance and travel the world and compete and teach. And it was the best, the best.
How long were you doing that for?
I was in Salsa Bravo only a couple years, but in those 2 years, we were in Miami, we were in New York, Puerto Rico, a lot of shows in LA, and Yeah, a lot of travel in Canada to Canada and competed and taught there. And it was one of those things that I didn't expect, nor did I have a goal. Okay, I'm going to be a salsa dancer and join a Latin team and travel the world. It just was one of those things that, I've done the work as a dancer and training, and the opportunity was there. And then it all came to fruition. So it was a beautiful, beautiful surprise.
Yeah, that is a beautiful surprise.
Yeah.
What do you think really, I mean, aside from what you said about, the costuming and the lights, is there a different aspect to it also compared to, the jazz and the tap and the ballet world with salsa?
My connection was with the music. And even though I don't speak fluent Spanish, there was definitely something in the music that my heart just connected then, and it still does. In fact, when my son was about 8 or 9, and he still does, he jokes at me that when I hear salsa in the car, I'm immediately turn it up, and I'm starting to like on the steering wheel, and it's something that's moves me. And as a dancer, when you're moved by the music, beautiful things happen after that. Um, Hip hop, jazz, a little more structural. And with the salsa, I could really feel like I could be free and connecting with a partner as well.
Right, yeah, I think that's important too because there's such a because you have a partner and because the structure of the class is constantly switching, you gain this really strong sense of community
Mm-hmm.
also, I
Yeah.
think.
And being on the team, sometimes as solo dancers, we're solo, right? So unless you're on a dance team, you don't necessarily have that group camaraderie, and you definitely had that.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. And it definitely shines through also in your company. So, what made you decide to start your own entertainment company?
Yeah, good question. I had been booking for music artists and directors, kind of on the, I don't want to say down low, but not intentionally, but they had reached out and, hey, I know you dance, and do you have some, lovely ladies you could bring along with, and we'll do this music video, or do you have a handsome gentleman to do some hip hop and a music video? And I started doing that, gradually. And then I thought, okay, I could make some residual income.
Mm.
And how do I do that? I start my company. And therefore, Liz Watson Company came to fruition. Started with basically salsa and samba and jazz and hip hop. And it grew, blossomed into so many other things that, again, I didn't expect, but we can chat more about that later, I guess.
Yeah, what was the initial, what was your first gig that you booked?
With the company, oh my goodness. Off the top of my head, I want to say there were two events. One was a family friend. It was her mother's 80th birthday, and she wanted samba dancers and a Michael Jackson. And so I did samba along with my other lady, and then it was actually my son who did Michael Jackson Jr. because he was doing that show for a little while. And then the second one was also, I think, a family friend, and we did a Christmas cabaret show. Those were some of the first ones we did. Yeah.
As was it extremely different for you, or were you just very comfortable in, embodying this new business owner
Mm-hmm.
person now?
Very.
So it was really comfortable.
Yeah, it was very different, but I also felt comfortable with that because in high school I directed fashion shows, I taught the dance teams, I choreographed, so I always felt very comfortable in a leadership role, leadership position. But it's definitely different, going from dancing with other groups where I would get the email, this is where you go, this is what you wear, this is what you're, going to do, and then flip the script, and I'm contacting the clients, I'm contacting the team, I'm preparing all the choreography, preparing the music, preparing the costumes. doing the payments, follow-ups, blah, 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 blah. So it's definitely a lot more work than being solely a dancer.
Yeah, and well, and you also dance on top of that. How do you juggle that? Because there are so many company owners that I think have a difficult time. I mean, that's a lot of hats that you're wearing. Are there tricks up your sleeve that you've learned along the way, or is it just something that, comes natural for you?
Yeah. I love to be hands-on and be there interacting with the clients and of course as a performer, once a performer, like always a performer. And it's funny because clients will they're surprised if I show up and I introduce myself and they say, "Oh, you're Liz? Like you perform too?" Because they think I'm like just a voice on the other end. I don't know if like old and fat wearing glasses and like just putting in the, event information, but I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here to just like, celebrate with you guys and be here with the team and definitely hands on." So how do I juggle it? Um, I work a lot, a lot of hours working but I wouldn't have it any other way. I love, love, love to perform. And I'd probably get bored just being in the office and not being out there in the events and being out with the team and the people and the energy.
Yeah, of course. How
Yeah.
many hours would you say in a day are you preoccupied with the
10,
company?
10 hours. That's like a minimum, just kind of on a regular day. And then during holiday season or New Year's Eve, it's like 12, 13, 14 sometimes.
Do
Yeah.
you think it's going to be the same this year?
No. I think for the first time, I'm going to be able to like maybe be with my family or the girls for New Year's Eve because it's like crickets out there. Like, hey,
Yeah.
anybody? Yeah. It's going to be
Yeah.
very different, for 20 years, like every New Year's Eve working. And this one's just gonna probably be a little more tame, a little more quiet. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think there's a silver lining to it for sure.
Yes, for sure.
Hmm. What are some of the difficulties of being a company owner and, have you found solutions to these or are you still trying to figure things out?
Difficulties, that's a good question. I have found a rhythm in the past 5, 6 years where I actually haven't experienced too many difficulties from the company. Any difficulties? Maybe it's
What's your
uh,
rhythm?
sometimes sometimes the clients can be challenging, to put it nicely. That's a difficulty. So it's learning to adapt to different people that you speak with. As far as the team, like there's just such a good vibe, peaceful, no drama energy. So there's definitely nothing with the team where I know a lot of people that have corporate events or corporate jobs, there's a lot of drama in the office and I wouldn't, right? And with team, we're family. So it's just, it's a great, great energy, great vibe. Difficulties, if anything for me would be just more time in the day because my mind wants to create choreography. I want to add more pictures to the website. I want to do more costumes. And even though I have a strong team of assistants, as a director, sometimes you want certain things done a certain way. And learning to delegate has been, yeah, that's it. Learning to delegate has been one of my difficulties. There you go. I got the answer. Yeah.
And is it what is it exactly that you delegate that's been difficult?
Yeah. The responsibility of costuming, I've been able to delegate that to a wonderful young lady who's in the company, one of the lead dancers, Heart Hayes. Shout out to you. Woo woo.
Whoop whoop heart.
So she's been able to see my vision and I leave it with her and she does her thing. But it took me a couple years to feel like I could really just not have to kind of follow up or look over her shoulder. What is she doing? That's one. And then another would be, hands-on at the event. If there's 20 of us and some are over here and some are over there, and times, and I'm trying to still perform. So I have an on-site management, which is Michael Morris. Shout out to Michael Morris. Woo woo.
Whoop whoop.
He's able to like keep the team straight, and then I can go dance and perform. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important because it's just really difficult when you are wearing all hats, especially in a big event.
Yeah. Yeah. And to really, make sure everything is at 100+%. Because,
And
yeah,
enjoy performing while you're at it.
exactly. And not like, is everybody here? What's going on? What's your schedule? Boom, boom, boom. So when I have Mike there, I can just like, relax, and I can go perform. And he loves
I
it.
can
He loves to call the shots.
and remember the choreography too.
Yeah, that too.
What would you say, what's your rhythm like,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah, rhythm. Have my morning cup of coffee, even though it's nighttime. We can pretend it's the morning. I'm up at about 7. I give myself an hour to kind of ease into the day, have my coffee. My team knows that I don't really like to do any business until after my coffee. And that's kind of a joke. Like, I haven't had my coffee yet, meaning like, I'll call you after I have my coffee. I'll jump into emails. There you go. Cheers.
cheers.
I'll jump into emails first, and then I'll go through leads and I'll follow up. I like to contact at least 10 people a day. Emails are very vague, so I'm on the phone and I'm talking to people. I'm hearing their vision. I'm giving them ideas, and then go to social media, do a few posts, do some choreography, go back to the emails, do contracts, contact the team. Are you available? Are you available? Confirm, booked. Um, Maybe another cup of coffee, and then whatever miscellaneous things in between. Yeah. So
Would you
I've learned to kind of do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll send the team the information. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, do the shows. Mondays, like follow up with clients. How was it? Everything good? La la la. Yay, you're happy. Woo, yay, good. Post. Payments. Yeah. So I've had a routine over the past years.
right, that's a really good rhythm.
Hmm.
And do you try to keep certain things, more during the day versus at nighttime?
Um, Good question. Sometimes and sometimes not, because as you know, in the entertainment business, and I have a lot of clients that are corporate in the entertainment business. There's not always a set time to start or stop. So, for example, I had a client that was emailing or texting me like at midnight the other night. It just,
Wow.
yeah, it varies. I'm more of a night owl, but I've learned that the date time is when people are, doing business. So I've had to adapt and wake up early, start the day, and, wrap up by like 7 or 8 ish p.m. So then I can have some this time. Yeah.
I'm just curious because you are somebody that is extremely calm and extremely empathic, and I think it's a very rare quality to have, I feel. Let's say you're talking to a client, a potential client, and they're particularly difficult, or maybe they're wanting to charge, such a small amount and asking you, why is this much, and all of that. How do you deal with, what is your script when it comes to those kinds of clients?
Yeah, good question. Well, I know it takes all kinds of people to go, that saying, it takes all kinds of people to make the world go round. And it definitely does. I've seen that. I like to just kind of take a moment and think about where they're coming from. And if it's, like you said, if it's something where they're kind of lowballing us, I will graciously explain, hey, we are professional dancers. This is not an amateur group. If you want a good show, you pay what you get. This would be the company that you're going to want to pay that. If it's not in your budget, we're not able to adapt or change, then I wish you the best in finding a team that can meet your budget. Um, so I try to meet them halfway. I don't ever take offense to things because a lot of people don't know. They
Right.
ask like, "Hey, can we have an hour show of samba dancing?" I'm like, "You don't
No.
like first of all, you don't want to see the shaking for an hour. After like 20 minutes, it's the same thing. It's like the feathers going back and forth, you know, and the dancers were not doing Zumba, we're performing. So sometimes, you know, people just don't know, and it's not, I don't take personal offense. It's a place for me to share and explain a little bit more, and then they get it. Like, oh yeah, okay. One
Educate
thing,
them.
yeah, one thing though that I won't like have no patience for or tolerance is, you know, if people are disrespectful and if they're very specific on, you know, I only want to have like a certain type of look, or you know, I'll explain that we are a variety of mixes and ethnicities and different people, and regardless of if you have this, you know, performer, that performer, everybody is amazing. Yeah.
How do you talk to yourself when you're in a difficult situation? Because obviously, I'm a dancer in your company and we've
Yeah.
done many shows together, and I'm constantly observing everyone. And one thing that I think that's just and I admire so much about you is how patient you are with people, and um, how you can diffuse any situation and keep it calm and keep it going and keep it flowing.
Yeah.
I would like to know where this comes from.
Well, I will share on a side note a little story just before we hopped on this call. So my brother was oversees the phone plan for the company, and we were so excited to switch over and get the new iPhone 12. Which, on another side note, you got to have a good phone so you can take a picture, so you can keep right, have good
That
recording,
was something I
all of that.
learned.
Yeah, you told me that. Like, you've got
Yeah,
to get a good quality phone. So I'm like, okay, bro, let's get the new phone. And we're all excited. And I got my cheetah cover, you know, cheetah girl. And then today it stopped working. I'm like, huh, okay. So I go to an AT&T store, it's closed. I go to another AT&T store, it's closed because of, you know, the C thing, and things are going out of business. And I'm driving around, I'm in Orange County, and I found another store. Yay! I go in there, I'm gonna get my phone fixed. I'll be back online, right? No. Apparently the phone that I got was not an AT&T phone, so it didn't work. I'm like, okay, it's all right. I just want to have a phone, but you know, I'm safe, I'm good. And then I get home to log onto my computer and it kept crashing. And I'm like, okay, my phone's not working, my computer's not working. I have a live show to get on. I'm always, you know, like I gotta be right on time, which is like 5 or 10 minutes. And all this is happening. And I'm like, breathe, just breathe. It's gonna be fine. It's all for a reason. But just breathe. So like where that comes from, because I want us to be like, ah, right? I just kind of like went inside and I'm like, it's gonna be fine. So back to your question, I guess to say, um, I am sensitive to energy. And when I've been on other events or shows for other companies, if I feel like chaos or the leaders are kind of crazy or the event planners are like, you know, pulling their hair out, I feel that energy. So when I'm at events with my team or you and I want to have that positive energy, and I don't want to trickle anything negative or crazy or, you know, around, because energies are sensitive. And so what I'm feeling, you might feel as well. So I don't know. It's just to think of like going a little internal, and then like from my gut, just taking a deep breath and like going. And then maybe every now and then I'll kind of look back and just be like, sometimes what you don't see, right? And then just keep it moving, because again, like at the end of the day, it's like, hey, it's all gonna work out, and it does. It all works out.
it always works out. It
Yeah.
always works out.
And I don't have my SIM card in the phone. I I put it on the Wi-Fi, and so we connected. So that's how I was able to get on. Yeah, but I still don't have my phone working. So it's been a day and it's not working, which has been like, oh my gosh.
I hope we get it situated.
It will. As soon as we're done with this call,
Yes.
then yes.
It always works out. Speaking of, when you're at events and you're having to deal with event planners, is that basically the same thing
Mm, yeah,
for you energetically?
yeah, they can be a little tricky. It's finding that middle ground because, of course, they have a specific vision, and then I have a vision, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. And then I have to also explain to the team that, we're represented by this company, not LW&C, Liz Watson Company. So it's all of us, respecting the event planner and going by what they need to accommodate. Because, of course, as an event planner, if it's a wedding, and they're like 20 people need something at the same time. So I just kind of step back and I'm like, we're here, we're ready. Just let us know and we'll go. But all that crazy energy running around, I'm like, we're just gonna be in the green room. So just knock on the door when you're ready and we'll go.
Let us know when you need us.
Yeah.
And, one of the other things that I really admire about you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is when you own your own business, it's very, very, very difficult to step away. And you have this ability to step away. And is that something that you have had to work on? Is that something that you have to do in order to uh, keep the business healthy and keep you
Mhm.
healthy? Is this something you just learned having your own business? Or, yeah, I would like to know how you're able to step away.
Yeah. Well, I definitely had to learn that because for several years my life was work, work, work. And I didn't feel like I had a lot of time with my family or friends. And I know when you're building a business, that's what it takes. You have to sacrifice and make that a priority. And so over the past couple of years, I've mixed a little work and play. So if we're traveling, we have a show at night and we're in Palm Springs, let's say, then it's, we stay overnight and we go out to dinner, we enjoy some wine, we'll go shopping the next day. I just make it a point to make it happen. Now, maybe that means before I leave, I put in a good 15-hour day to knock everything out so then I can have some free time and playtime. But it's not only good for myself, but I've also seen it's good for the other ladies or gentlemen that we're traveling together because then it's, we have fun. Um, yeah, it's something I've definitely had to work on, but it's like to bring me back to center and to have some me time, which I actually just had yesterday because I've been putting in, speaking of, businesses and creating a new one. And so it's, you start in the morning before you know it, it's like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I put in a 14, 15-hour day. I'm like, why am I so exhausted? I'm falling asleep with my phone, like looking at my phone, like boom. And I'm just like, so tired. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pause for a minute and having a show in Orange County yesterday and today, and I just found a nice little hotel, and I'm like, I'm gonna just pause, have a little Liz time, and I woke up today refreshed, looking at the ocean, like okay, ready for the day. So it's just I have to do it to come back to center. But it wasn't until a couple years ago that I was able to find time to do that. And with you, I'm always like, come on, stay, play. You're like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I'm still learning, hence the question.
I know. I've been there. And I see you and me as I was a few years ago. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine because and I don't know if it's the environment we're in, living in Los Angeles and productivity is the favorite word.
Yeah.
And it equates, if you're busy and you're doing something, it it's like, okay, you're enough in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I find myself needing to get out. And, when I go back to the Philippines,
Hmm.
that isn't there. My feeling of just being and not feeling like I have to be productive per se
Yeah.
doesn't even exist. And I have to always come back to that place. But for whatever reason, it's
Mhm.
really difficult to remember that here. I don't know if you struggle with that.
Yeah, totally have that. It's like there's the the hustle, right? Like we got to be like hustle and grind, and if you're not doing it, you're not, being productive. Which I know there's a difference between being busy and then being productive, because some
Right.
days are like if I'm not organized and it's just random things happening, then I'm just being busy. But productive is when events are booking and there's transactions that are happening, and if I do that in say like 4 hours, I'm like, I'm done. Like, where are we going for happy hour today? Because if I can knock those things out and be productive in a short amount of time, I'm not going to then just stay and like be busy for the sake of it. Does that make sense?
Right.
I've learned there's a difference between being busy and being productive, but it's just something in the LA air. It's like, we got to hustle. We got to do this. We got to do that. And then, yeah, you go on vacation. It's like, oh, because the energy is different. It's just, it's so true. And I think it's that frame of mind that if you're not doing something, there's somebody else that is, and they're going to get ahead of you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So it's balance, finding balance in LA, because as a performer, if we're not rested, taking care of ourselves, if we're not in good spirit because we're like exhausted and tired and we've just work, that's going to show as well.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And that's why for me, this pandemic has kind of been a blessing in disguise because it's been a forced vacation.
Yes. Uh-huh. Which I
Hmm.
know you were like for a couple months, like MIA. I'm like, where's this girl? What's going on? You're
Bye.
like, peace out. Yeah. Oh, this
But
is
speaking of pandemic, how is your company doing? And are things, I know you mentioned that things aren't back to normal, but you are taking on gigs. And
yes.
this is actually an Instagram question from someone on Instagram, and they wanted to know how are you going about booking gigs during this pandemic, and how are you kind of navigating through it?
Yeah, so it's been a little tiptoeish because what used to be us being so hands-on at events and doing the kind of cheesy but always popular conga line or doing pictures and being really hands-on dancing with people, we've had to take like way steps back. So it's been a little tiptoe, and sometimes people want to get close and we're like, no, like, stay over there. Sometimes clients or guests are wearing the masks and we're at a distance. Um, haven't yet gotten to the place where we're wearing masks because we're exerting so much energy and I don't want myself or anybody else to pass out wearing a mask. So I've learned to adapt. You know, it's like the word pivot, not not the technical dance term, but the pivot. It's like, okay, we got to do something different because we're not just not going to do shows. And especially right now, people want to hear music. They want to see dancers. They want to feel, the happy energy, which I call it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we had not just for the clients or the guests, but even for us in the team to be able to perform. I won't forget. It was hard, and it'd probably been, let's see, March, April, maybe 3 months since we'd had a show. And it was a quiet, like, backyard, maybe 10, 12 people. We did hula, but it was like, we didn't know who was more excited, if it was, Hard Night or the people we were performing for, because we were both like, oh my, they're like, thank you for being here. We're like, no, thank you. And they're like, no, thank you. Thank you. We're just so like, music, dance. Oh, we're like together again. So the bookings from like March to May was like, like, is my am I fun? okay, we're gonna work on the website. We're gonna work on cleaning up the costumes. So during those months was just reorganize, revamp, all that because it was silent. It just nothing was happening, and it was a learning experience because it's like, um, like you said, you had to really just kind of like relax and take a forced vacation. And when you're used to working a lot, it was kind of a moment of like, I'm like allergic to my life right now because I can't like work and perform and all that. Um, but to go back to your question, yes. So we have very clear communication with the client that this is what we'll do, this is what we don't do. What are you comfortable with? This is what we're okay with, and we find the middle ground, and then we can perform. So yeah, the bookings started again back in Mayish, June, and have been consistent for the past couple months. Corporate events, not
Nice.
so much. Maybe like a handful of corporate events, but the private parties definitely. And again, people are just so excited for us to be there. So we just kind of have to keep our distance and make sure that we're still being safe for everybody.
Yeah, it's just I hope things pick up for you, especially now that December is coming through and you have the
Yeah.
holidays. Although, most of these events are corporate events, these holiday parties and
Oh yeah.
stuff. So,
Usually during December, there's 25 events, of which say like 15 are corporate events. So
mhm.
that's not going to happen, but we'll see. We'll see what does. Whatever way it goes. It's just it would be nice to as performers and as artists. That's one of our things is we love to just be free with our art. So having to kind of restrict ourselves is a little, it can be a little frustrating. I remember today, I'm just like, I don't want to wear the mask anymore. It's just like, don't tell me what to do. So I want to just really be able to like, you know, dance close with people and hug on my clients. Like I'm a, kind of touchy feely, person. Clients want like handshake. I'm like, come on, like I've talked to you for a month. Like I know who your family is and it's your wedding. Like give me a hug. And now it's like, elbow, or what is it, air hug?
Air hug.
So many air hugs. And then one time I had a client, she just caught me off guard. I would like look this way, and next thing you know, her arms around me. I was like, whoa. She's like, I just wanted to hug you. You guys are great. I just need to hug you. I'm like, okay, let's wash my hands.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. I've been thinking about how much I miss performing indoors in, in venues, in theaters, and when you see things like uh, air airplanes being fully packed in, no social
I know.
distancing,
Yeah.
and for hours, mind you, for hours,
Yeah.
it just makes me frustrated
Hmm.
because that's even more unsafe than say a theater
Right.
or just a banquet hall.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I heard on the news today something about Live Nation, which by the way is one of our clients. Live Nation, they are trying to figure out something to start booking concerts, but of course, it's going to take, I mean, a minute to figure out how to space it out. They book, so many millions of tickets every year. How are they going to space out all of these tickets? But at least the conversation is there. It's been started to see what they can do to start bringing people back to, the amphitheaters and watching the
Right.
concert. Yeah. Because, yeah, it's like if they're doing it in Vegas little by little, then, and yeah, the flights are booked. There's no more like seat in between. People are just there. Why can't we do that? Why?
Yeah, it makes zero sense to me. Southwest is still doing the social distancing thing,
Yeah.
which is good because I've flown with them a couple of times.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh.
I I I'm curious about, your if you have any difference in struggles from, earlier on in your career as a dancer, singer, actor versus where you are now. or is it the same kind of struggle? And it can be, either outside struggle or inner.
Yeah. Um, hmm. Two things. When let me click my phone there. Struggle. I was a young mom, young single mom. So needless to say, that in itself was a struggle to, be mom full time and then be in the business and do what I love. Thank God for my mom and dad and my family, who was a huge support. And my son, who just went along with it. I'd take him to the shows. He'd hang out in the green rooms. He'd peek out from the side of the stage, like, there's my mom, like, wave to me. He'd see me on TV and, like, that's my mom. He'd go to school and his friends would, like, is that your mom, man? That was a struggle, and working on set late nights and then waking up and, making um, breakfast and getting ready for him and doing the school thing, just the typical mom thing. But um, did it again. It was like the support team that was there, but I just didn't. I tried the 9 to 5s. I tried the full-time jobs, and it just, then I'd get an audition, and then I would book something, and you do the numbers, what you make doing a commercial versus what you make working 9 to 5 in 1 week. It's a substantial difference. And all due respect to people that have the corporate jobs, but it was just something in my heart that was not fitting. So I had to work even harder being a single mom and then pursuing the entertainment business. Then fast forward 20 years later, another big challenge was being in a marriage that was unhealthy, and which took away my thrive my desire to really thrive and perform. And as an entertainer, it's like we always got to kind of be on, and I wanted to just like throw the blanket over my head, and I didn't feel like dressing up. I didn't feel sexy or beautiful, and so it was really challenging to feel one way and then have to be on set or be at a show and like put on this whole other thing. But it is what sometimes we do as performers. So what I did to kind of make it through those challenging years was I worked a lot, and I really dove into the company more and more and more. And in the roundabout way, that's what the blessing was, because those years that I just dove into my work, everybody has their vices, whether it's I'm going to go out to party, or I'm going to drink my problems away, or I'm going to do drugs or grab a backpack and travel the world and forget about my problems. Mine was, okay, I'm just going to work. My ex traveled a lot. He wasn't around a lot. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to work, and I'm going to be, choose to do something different. And it was those couple years that I just dove into my workaholic, whatever you want to call it. I'd rather have been a workaholic than like an alcoholic. So from there, and just set the foundation even more. And proud to say that business has like doubled, and even last year almost tripled. So yeah,
Wow.
always like from tragedy comes a blessing. And in hindsight, now looking back, that's what it was. So now I'm thriving and happy and healthy. And whoever's going through something, like, just find your art, like, and it will be healing for other people as well as healing for myself. And my company went from being a business to you and other people just surrounding me with love and becoming my family. And so many beautiful things came from a time that was so dark. Yeah.
Yeah, that totally answered one of the questions that I had. A
Yeah.
blessing in disguise.
Yes, definitely.
A blessing in
And I
disguise.
think as you
Those,
get older as well, you're just you get more comfortable with yourself. I mean, I'm 27 now. Um, so the older I've gotten, it's, you learn what not to do, and you find you can find your groove and know what you want and what you don't want. And it's like, okay, I'm like, I've like arrived. I'm good. I'm not just good, like I'm great.
Do you think that that's something that came through experience over the years, or do you think that's something that a younger dancer can learn without having to
Uh,
go through certain things?
as a younger dancer, you know, I just didn't have the business savvy mind. You know, like if my call time or my audition is at 4 o'clock, it's like, okay, I show up at 4:05. Um, you know, if I say I would do a project, oh, I'm not feeling good. You know, I just think sometimes as younger dancers, because we kind of have this sometimes lackadaisical, you know, attitude, that there were just some things that I really didn't commit to. And not burning any bridges, but of course, just, you know, setting an example. So then, you know, years later, it's like, this is a business, not just with a company, but myself as an artist and other dancers or singers, actors, we are our own business. And just because we don't have a 9 to 5 doesn't mean we can't have health insurance. It doesn't mean we can't start planning for retirement. It doesn't mean that we can't, you know, have a savings account and save for any kind of emergencies. I think as an artist, we just feel like, you know, nothing will happen to us and we're going to be fine. Like, oh, I'll meet, you know, as a woman, I'll meet a rich man who'll take care of me. I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, you have to be able to depend on yourself. And I would just encourage any young dancers now to really make it a business, be professional, because you never know who you're going to meet and you don't want to burn any bridges, because even though it's like a lot of people out there, it's a small circle and people
Yeah.
will remember. People will definitely remember. So yeah,
Yeah, that's so true.
yeah, it's a business, and sometimes we think, oh, we're an artist, but as an artist, you are your own business. Yeah. So that's what I had to learn. You know, put on the adult pants and learn that.
Well,
Because yeah.
I think the struggle is that, well, for me anyway, I'll just speak from my experience. So, having gone to school for dance,
Mm-hmm.
there was no, there wasn't really a business curriculum or, somebody to say, you are a business and this is how you should handle yourself professionally. It
Mm-hmm.
was more like, this is how you can become a good dancer, just a dancer,
Yeah.
performance wise, but not business wise. So you have so many talented artists out there who, come from really great schools
Mm-hmm.
but aren't equipped to see themselves as a business and to run themselves as a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know that over, say, the past 10 years, there have been more people or dancers that realize that. Like I have a good friend who realized that, and her partner choreographer, like, we've got to do something to teach these dancers some business techniques and what they can do to really stand out. So the
Hmm.
need was starting to come up, and they talked about it, and they did workshops, and people attended, and they really appreciated having that more business savvy classes.
Oh, interesting. Do you have a reference? Can you what are their names? Are they still
Uh,
having workshops?
Shonique, Sneed, and Lisette, known choreographers, and then turned into business owners as well, and did these classes. I know as of now, they're not actively doing these classes based on, um, you know, personal journeys and things, but I think I know they're out there. They're definitely out there for people that want to take, you know, the business savvy classes. And
Right.
it should
Yeah,
just be,
no.
I just wish it was a curriculum in like high schools or colleges, you know, learning. It just should be a requirement. Business is along with, you know, estate planning and purchasing a home and, you know, doing these things. It's just, we can't, as much as we think as a performer that we can dance and, you know, we're always gonna, you know, look like this and have six packs, whatever. And but have something else to fall back on, you know, especially with this whole, I call it C thing because I don't like to give any attention to the word. So I call it the C thing. But if anything, it's been a wake up like, oh, okay, what else, you know, as performers can we do? Because now it's really like slapped us in the face. Like we're, you know, we don't have a lot of shows. We're not auditioning as much. Productions are down. What else can we do? You started this podcast, right? Other people are starting makeup businesses. Other people are, I saw one dancer who started her own online Spanish class, one that's doing cardio classes and another doing fitness. I mean, so we're all like, okay, we can do other things. And now we have the time to figure out like, oh yeah, I could do this and that, you know?
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about your new business?
Well, sure. My new tiny business, it's still like in the customer service field. I'm not like doing accounting or like a, you know, lawyer or whatever. And it's just kind of random because I was just twiddling my thumbs, like it's gotta be something, it's gotta be something. Like, what can it be? What can it be? And then boom, it was like, oh, like just the lights like came out from nowhere. And I'm like, Airbnb. So
Yeah.
just as a dancer, right? We take classes, we're make ourselves I can say the word versatile, right?
Yeah.
Versatile every day. Learn, YouTube University. And I, as of officially tomorrow, because the listing is going to be worked on tonight, will be an Airbnb host of a tiny home in Desert Hot Springs. So
Hey.
yeah, completely like different from the arts, but there's a similarity because people, I think when you Airbnb versus when you go to a hotel, there's something that's unique about Airbnb.
Yep.
There's an experience. So just like as performers, we take people on a journey and we take them on an experience. So now I'm like, the hours that I put in, I'm like, um, okay, like there's only so many times I can like make the towel fold so it's like perfectly lined up to the edge. And I've moved like the Keurig, like is it center? Is it right like center? I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What, like who are you right now, Liz? But I'm excited at the same time, you know, a little nervous because it's new, but same thing with the business. I know that the more time and commitment you put into it, it's just there's going to be success. So
Right. No question.
yeah, that's going to be another business. And somebody asked me, so that means like you're not going to do the entertainment company anymore? I'm like, of course not. Like that, no, that's not going to stop. But this is definitely to supplement, and also real estate is wonderful, and it'll be a second home. And when we have shows in Palm Springs, now we stay there.
Oh, so smart.
Oh, so smart, so smart. Yeah.
So smart. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you're such an inspiration to me, and I'm so glad that I met you and that I work for you and I get to hang out with you.
I
Um,
know.
one of the biggest things too is that you're someone that really lives being in a state of gratitude, and you really ooze out gratitude, I feel. Do you have any daily rituals that you do to keep you in that place?
Good question. Again, that was practice because for years I was kind of like, you know, happy but complaining a lot and nitpicking. And along with the seat thing, it's like we're healthy. We're still working. We have some assistance. I've been able to, you know, really tap into when help is needed, and it's there to, as you had suggested to me, the SAG grant and the different things that are available. So really being able to um, tap into all that. So gratitude, you know, the state of gratitude. And I wake up every day like, thank you, God, for waking me up. Thank you, God, for the birds, like the sound of the birds. Thank you for the little squirrels that run across. It's just the little things that I'm in conversation with throughout the day. Like, thank you, God, just for these little moments. It's the little kid that while I'm waiting impatiently to, you know, get my food, the kid that turns around and smiles at me. I'm like, thank you, God, for that moment. It just, the little moments, simple things. So I just, and of course, thinking like that I can have my own jobs and I can travel and do my thing, and my family. Oh my gosh, my family. My family is the world to me. And I'm just so, so, so thankful for my family and then my friends and the company and then the wine. Um, and my cats. Like, I don't have a cheetah, not yet, but my little kitties, which I had to make sure I put them in the room or they would have been like all in this video. So yeah,
Hey, I don't
I think
mind.
once you, if you know, just like with anything, you start practicing something over a length of time, it becomes natural. And I used to do a gratitude journal, and I graduated, like, not graduated, but I went from there to just speaking it into, existence every day. And
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, you just naming off the things that you're grateful for, I would say some people even struggle to think of one thing. So you've
Mm,
you've definitely worked on it for sure.
it takes work. Yeah, because we're
It does take work.
naturally humans. I don't know what the number is, but I know there was some study done that's like throughout the day we think of some crazy 5,000 times, whatever. I don't quote me exactly, but so many times of negative information. Like, just as humans, we're naturally, our brains are going to first go to the negative before the positive. So it takes work
Absolutely.
to to really, you know, think of the positive and remain in gratitude. So yeah, and I left my tiny house the other day, and I'm like, thank you. Thank you in advance for the blessing that you're going to be. Okay? Okay. Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to our 5, 6, 7, 8 questions. They're rapid questions, which I feel like you've shared quite a few of them. But anywho, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten?
The best piece of advice that I've gotten, I'm remain true to yourself. Mhm. Your eyes go up.
I think about that, and and I absolutely agree with you. And then I also think that there are people that think that they are true to themselves without being true to themselves. So it's
Mhm.
almost like you have to recognize that you're not being true to yourself first
Yeah.
to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
um,
was my first one. The second, if I can, the second would be,
yeah.
reputation is everything.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Mhm.
What's the worst advice you've gotten?
The worst advice I've gotten. I know this is supposed to be fast, right? Um, oh, keep your day job. Bam. Yeah. From somebody that was quote unquote very supportive of me. Yeah. Keep your day job.
Ooh,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm. I
Yeah.
didn't, I didn't think about that one. Um, this is a two-part question. What did you wish you knew back as a younger dancer,
Mhm.
and what advice can you give the younger generation of dancers?
As a younger dancer, I feel like it's never too early to start planning for your future. Meaning planning for making goals, right? Sometimes we live as a dancer, we live in the moment. And I think as a younger dancer, that's kind of our frame of mind. So kind of twofold. I wish I had earlier planned for my future, as well as had a more business sense of mind. Because, you know, maybe for the future dancer that is considering purchasing a home or investing when they start younger, even $20 a month, it all adds up. And so my mindset was like, oh, I'm just going to always work and I'm going to always book. And I don't need to have an IRA account now. And, I'm only 25. What do I need that for? Like, well, why not? It's never too early.
No.
So now I'm just, putting more into savings or retirement to kind of make up for all those years that I hadn't. because I had the frame of mind like, I'm just going to be a star forever and I'm always going to, you know, I don't need to worry about that now. Yeah. So I would just encourage the younger dancers to, yes, you know, of course, do your craft. And when you do your craft, the more, on a second note, if when you do your craft, the more well-rounded you are, the more you're going to work. Don't just rock ballet, jazz, and hip hop. Do the Bollywood, right? Do the salsa. Do the Hawaiian. Do the Gatsby. Because the more styles that you do, the more you're going to get hired, the more you're going to work, the more money you're going to make, the more opportunities you're going to have. And then the more work you make, or the more money you make, you can then, you know, after the bills are paid and the savings are done, you can invest.
And go on vacations.
Yeah, and have fun along the way. You know,
Yeah,
I know some of these
that's
younger
true.
like millennials are just like work, 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 which is amazing, and they're just like super focused. But you know, somebody told me like on the tombstone, it's, you know, do you want to have like workaholic, or do you want to have like they lived a good life, well-rounded, balanced.
Right. Ooh, I need to keep remembering that myself.
Okay,
Um,
my battery's going low on my phone.
oh, well, that's okay. We can totally end it. And before you go, I just want to thank you first off. And I know that people will be able to find you at Liz Watson Co.
Mhm.
Or if people want to go onto your website. But anyway, thank you so much, Liz. I adore you. And yeah, let's do this again.
When are we going to bike ride? We go for a bike ride next week. Bike ride.
Yes, let's do it. She's leaving me. Anyway, guys, we are having Wi-Fi connectivity problems, but I adore you, Liz. Thank you so much for coming on and for talking to us about your experiences. Hopefully people got a lot of value out of this. So talk to you soon.